our lives are changed by history.
We are one people, all of us.
Leaders, politics.
Nobody's ambition is what's the blood.
I have fought very firmly.
Natural occurrence, war, and the world economy.
I belong to everyone.
Ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for you. With that, from John F. Kennedy, I welcome you to ATN Politics. ATN Politics is Atlantic Television Network's flagship program that discusses core political trends with relevant political stakeholders. And today on ATN Politics, we will be discussing on core issues from different political landscapes, such as in Osun State, APC calls for dissolution of the Executive Council. In Lagos State, the Assembly CADSEC screens 79 chairmanship candidates. Before I introduce our guests, I'll go for this short break, and when we come back, business as usual. Please stay tuned.
The people of Maiduguri need your help. A catastrophic flood has engulfed the city, leaving over 1 million residents stranded and fighting for survival. Entire communities are submerged, with people trapped inside homes and on rooftops, cut off from food, clean drinking water, and essential supplies. Health experts are warning of a potential outbreak of deadly diseases, and medical facilities are out of commission. The situation is dire. Helicopters, boats, and high-riding trucks capable of navigating the treacherous, waterlogged areas are urgently required to reach the countless men, women, and children still awaiting rescue. The Nigerian media is issuing a desperate plea to the government, humanitarian organizations, international actors, and citizens across the nation. Step in now, before it's too late. For more information on how you can help, contact Professor Usman A. Tar, the Honorable Commissioner for Information and Internal Security, Borno State, on 0809-233-3955. Every second counts.
This is powered by Atlantic Television Network.
Every day, our lives are changed by history.
We are one people, all of us.
Leaders, politics.
Nobody's ambition is what's the blood.
I have fought very firmly.
Natural occurrence, war, and the world economy.
I belong to everybody, and I belong to nobody.
ATN covers it all on ATN Politics today.
Good to have you back on ATN Politics right here in the studios of Atlantic Television Network. I am your host, Raymond Ken Mbata, and today our guest is the national leader of ICU Group and also a political stalwart, analyst, juggernaut, and stakeholder in so far as Rivers State and Nigeria election and political sphere is concerned. I'm talking of none other than Honorable Chizi Nyomasla. It's a pleasure to have you on the show today, sir.
Ray, thank you.
Welcome, sir.
Very much, and thank you, viewers.
It's a pleasure, sir.
Good evening.
Yes, sir. Welcome, sir. All right, in order not to take any more of your time, we'll head on to the first story for discussion today. The Opposition All Progressive Congress, APC, in Osun State has called for the dissolution of the Osun State Executive Council. The party also condemned the attitude of the commissioners in the Governor Ademola Adeleke's cabinet. The APC's demand is coming few weeks after the midterm anniversary of the administration of Governor Adeleke. The party, in a statement by Kola Olabisi, the Director of Media and Information, stated that the call for the cabinet dissolution is overdue and aimed at injecting vibrant blood who would add substantial value in the overall interest of the development of the state. Honorable Sir, yes, we are seeing the opposition in Osun State call for the dissolution of the full Executive Council, blaming the commissioners for being sterile per se, being inactive. And it's not a common occurrence having the opposition call for the dissolution of the full Executive Council. I want to know your reactions towards that, sir.
Well, That is, in essence, saying that the governor himself should resign.
Oh.
Because every decision taken, I'm not saying every, but I can tell you that 80% of the decision taken by a commissioner is a product of the executive directive. Though there are some very little cases where commissioners may deviate, and of course, if you call the governor who truly want to work for his people to attention to that, of course, he will know that he has to dissolve. But of course, it is not in the place of the opposition party to so call for the dissolution of a cabinet. It is the governor that will say, look, I'm going to... But except that they are saying, look, in another way, they could be saying, look, governor, you're performing very well. Just remove your cabinet and dissolve and then inject new persons. What you're doing is correct. That means that they are giving you a vote of confidence. That okay. If that's what they're doing. Of course, we wouldn't say because after the election, you see, governance follows. And then there should be a little bit of... I don't want to, because I'm a political scientist, because I could behold to it, to say that we should remove politics, because politics itself is defined ordinarily. Defined ordinarily as who gets what, how, and when. So why would I say remove that kind of terminology in doing that? But I'm saying that in the context to which Nigerian looks at politics, if you say that you have to remove it, then aside that, the governor is no longer the governor of PDP, that is the governor of APC, is the governor of the state, the Osun state. And so any individual, both NGOs, party, but you know why it is looking like it's funny? Because it's coming from an opposition, and the opposition is saying remove and inject, as if though the opposition is asking that some of them should be put into the cabinet. That's what will make the meaning. But of course, they should point out this commissioner is not doing this, is not doing that, remove that commissioner. To say that totally you're going to dissolve for the it is for the governor to... The commissioner is just some kind of a lentil shadow of the governor, representing the governor in the ministry, because the governor is the head of each of the ministries. So he has a commissioner who is like a chief executor of the governor's policies. So if the policies are failed, it means the governor has failed. So you can come up boldly to say, look, governor, you have failed, except that you are now beginning to play certain kind of antipathy. I don't know what that means.
Okay, sir. Okay, then in that case, in your own analysis, in your own assessment, can you be able to absolve Governor Ademola Adeleke of being not being as active as he ought to be? You know that he was known popularly as the dancing senator before he became the governor, and maybe they might be looking at him from that light and not seeing the administrative qualities that he has brought to bear upon Osun State. In your own analysis, has he met up to the expectations of Osun people, sir?
Now, you see, let me not claim to be a perfect person.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. In their own words, if you say dissolve the executive, there is a biblical injunction. I'm sorry if I use that. That says remove the evil men around the king, then righteousness will be established. So it looks like, oh no, the king is righteous, but if you just removed this person, so in their own words, they have said Adeleke is doing well. That's what they said. But I like to say this: when I am examining or trying to look at the activities of a governor, for me, the only thing I used to say is that everybody is measured according to his understanding. Adeleke has benefited from the experience of governance. He's been a senator, he's been around, he's been in the business, and so there will be high expectation on his performance. I want to see governors who are creative, not just allocating resources, who are creative to see that, look, investors look home and abroad is coming in, and there are new things that are coming in. I don't want to see the stereotype things of things that anybody, military administration should do and all of that. And I tell them that the difference between democracy and any other form of government is, whereas any other form of government could hinge on what they believe, democratic system of government is hinged on the popularity view. And so if that, so I will say that for me, I have always said that if you say dividends of democracy should be that the government, there are a greater number of persons participating in the governance and the activities and benefiting from that activity, then it becomes dividend. But if not, any other form of government, government democracy system can afford to put infrastructure. The military does infrastructure.
Yes.
The military does security.
Yeah.
So the urgent difference should be that a greater number of persons is in the decision of what you are doing, however it is. If they say, oh, all we need is basket, that's democratic. So you provide for them what they want.
Okay.
That's just what I want.
Okay, sir. Now, Osun State Governor himself has not been blowing hot politically. Looking at the issue in Rivers State here, our dear state, between the former governor and the present governor, that even had to bring Oyo Makinde even on both sphere of it. Oyo Makinde went with the PDP Governors Forum and later switched back over to Damagun's side and all that. But the Osun State Governor has been still as an idol, still as a statue per se, politically. Do you think it's a move, it's a political move, or he is not as versatile politically concerning PDP?
You know, like I said, leadership is value neutral, and it is the man who occupies a certain position that makes leadership either go this way or the other way. Okay, and everybody comes with this kind of person. Yeah. There are persons that, even in our villages, you know, I had a friend who, while growing up, this friend will hardly, you know, he will be there when the thing will happen, and then you call him and say, were you not there? He said, just try to keep quiet. There are people who naturally, you know, one wants to go. Of course, he will say, I'm governor of my state. Let me hold my state. Whatever happens there, I'm going to work with whoever. Assuming that is what. There are also people who will not like what is happening, and so they decide to go in. They reduce to their place and said, okay, let me just hold this. What is happening? Whatever that happens, you know, there are people who also keep quiet to watch for very long, and when they launch strategically and logically. So I'm not with him to know why he has to do that, but he was and is still elected as the governor of Osun, yes, you know, not the president. And so he could say, well, if you look at all of the things that is happening, I can tell you, each time you see a governor or whoever that is talking for or against the national body, let me give them 10% of the fact that it could be that the national body has failed. But I can tell you that 80 or even a little bit of, maybe, okay, let me be economical with the percentage, all of 50% of it may just be because his activities or inactivities affecting me here. Okay. And so in a situation where those activities is not affecting this person, he said, okay, I'm going to keep quiet. It's based on the person's kind of life, you know, temperament. But there are persons who will want to go in and say, no, if the whole is not done well, the pact will begin to be affected. Yeah. So we need to go to the whole. But you have to, I can tell you that the involvement of the Edo governor, you know, in that national thing is part of what cost him not having a successor. So you need to be careful a little bit, especially when your state is what I call an offline election state. Yeah. You just have to be very careful. So you'll not be singled out when the time will come. Exactly. That's just it.
Okay, sir. Bringing the issue at hand in Osun State concerning the ineffective representation of or performance of the commissioners according to the opposition. If we bring it back home, juxtaposing in Rivers State here, do you think that the commissioners in Rivers State have been up and doing, or do we need to tell the governor to that he should reshuffle his cabinet?
You know, the Rivers issue is very dicey. Now, I tell you why. The commissioner for health was, you know, and some very few of the commissioners were sent to the assembly as constituted. Now, right now, every other commissioner or whatever they call them that is sent to this other assembly, legally they are not commissioners. So why would I be talking to something that does not exist in the first instance? So, and again, the governor will be careful because he does not have the support of the assembly. So, you know, dissolving them and then bringing, he will not say, which assembly am I going to, you know, submit to? Because he knows that it is getting clearer that all of those things are illegitimate. And so, I tell you, I'm on air. You know, there was a time the quote-unquote, the Attorney General appeared before a court, and the judge asked him, are you the Attorney General? Are you coming as Attorney General of the state, or you are? He said, I am a senior advocate of Nigeria. He dodged it because he knows that can cost him his certificate, his certification, because he should know better that he can't be a commissioner by that thing they did. All of this is certain kind of gimmick. Well, let's just stay. But he would have as well have loved, because the governor has a right to so appoint somebody as special advisor. If I was going to advise the commissioner, for instance, if the governor meets me now to be commissioner, and without going to send my name to these persons, I will tell the governor, that's if I'm going to accept being the commissioner, I will tell the governor, it's just nomenclature. Call me senior executive advisor to the governor on this ministry. There the law allows it. So whatever I do is within the ambits of the law. Why waiting for when this whole brouhaha would have calmed down a little bit? Because if you go to equity, it is supposed that you go with clean hands.
Yes.
Certain things you do might affect you tomorrow. You are not. You can't, the governor, you are not commissioner because the governor says you are commissioner. You are commissioner because the governor has nominated you to an assembly, and this assembly have to be the assembly.
Yes.
And then assembly has screened and said you are a commissioner. That's why you're a commissioner. Anything outside that, you are not a commissioner. I can tell you that when this whole thing is finished, his picture, the picture of the one that calls the Attorney General right now, will not be in that chamber because he's never a commissioner. It is a sentiment apart. So calling him to that dissolve even those who, among the few that have been, approved by the real assembly, for him, maybe what he will be doing is right sizing, changing them from one ministry to the other, and Ray, you are making me even give the man free advice, because I think what he would have done is
Sir, you just call your account number at the end of the statement.
What he would have done is to cover the entire ministries with the special advisors. I mean, there's nothing that stops him from doing that.
Okay, sir. Okay, thank you, sir. Thanks. Let's go over to Lagos State. The Lagos State House of Assembly on Monday suspended the chairman of Alimosho local government area, Jalili Suleiman, indefinitely. And at the plenary, the lawmakers resolved that the vice chairman of the council, Akim Elu Johnson, should take over running of the local government's affairs. The House further instructed the management of the council, including the manager and treasurer, to recognize the authority of the vice chairman and accord him all the support to make him work effectively. The chairman was suspended in a unanimous vote by the lawmakers over an alleged non-compliance, defiance, and unyielding attitude to the legislative house. Yes, this story also had reports of rascality in the part of the said suspended chairman, local government chairman. He was involved in a brawl that even someone passed away, someone lost his life, and was invited over and over to the house, and he refused to come to accept that invitation, and it has all culminated to his being suspended indefinitely and the vice chairman taking over. Do we see it as, does he have the right to go to court concerning this, or was the stance of the House justified, sir?
Yes, you see, in a federated state, laws of states differ from the other.
Yes, sir.
Now, of course, but there is a big lacuna in our legal system, in our laws here. Now, this man is a local government chairman that should be autonomous.
Yes.
That do have his own legislative house, which is the councillor.
Yes.
Who should suspend or impeach him.
Yeah.
Now, these people have not said anything. An assembly is doing that on behalf of these people. So, so you see, the question would be, what is the duty of the councillors?
Exactly. I was about asking that question.
So what is the duties of the councillors? I think that where he is supposed to submit himself to will be the councillors.
Do they have such power, sir?
No. So why do we have councillors?
Okay.
Why? The problem we have is it why people are insisting on total local government autonomy? For people to begin to respect that. Imagine that the governor of Lagos State is being suspended by the House of Assembly. I mean, House of Reps or National Assembly. What will you say of that? People should know. I mean, that's what I'm saying. I'm not a lawyer, even though I have said in many forums that I don't miss being a lawyer. And I tell you that I don't miss being a lawyer. If there, you know, when we were growing up as secondary school, you know, in those debating societies, I used to come up very, very well, you know, and if you are doing well in social or arts, the villages will say you're going to study law. I don't know whether you know. Then if you're doing well in biological sciences, you're going to be medicine or then engineering. Those are the only things I can't, the four things that my village and my father insisted I should go do law. And they asked me to write law as JAMB. Thanks, not now that JAMB has gone, ICT. Yes. Then you could pick two forms. So they picked their form and filled for me. I went and picked political science. Saying what the man did or didn't do is right. But shouldn't you have, I would have said that the Legislative Assembly should have called on the Assembly, National Assembly, and give them impetus to do whatever.
Have there been any case at all?
In the recent times,
okay,
maybe not. I know that during KCKJ and all of that, you know, one of those times I was a very little child, you know, but I was very conscious politically because the SDP chairman, you know, of my local government, I was a PA. So even I was secondary school, university, and all of that, so I was a little bit unconscious. But I know that KJ was sweating from one ward to the other, going to lobby the assemblies and the councillors from what a threat, not even that they're going to impeach him. That means that they knew something. And if you notice, the councillors then, you know, people will elect the councillors because they are male rule. But this thing happening is almost looking at the councillors as boys who wouldn't do anything. They are only there. That's why the councillors are at the mercy of the chairman. You will write a book on that. I said the beauty of power is the ability to hold and withdraw to exercise. And the excellency of power is the capacity to even exercise and authorize others.
Oh. Legislate, delegated legislation.
Delegated legislation. So if you say, look, well, if you summon the councillors, as the councillors come, you're not doing your duty. Go and do your duty. Do you know what? You are training them. You are giving them a training ground. So I would have seen a situation where councillors assemblies are evolving from the council and the House of Reps are evolving from the assembly. So they are well versed in the legislative matters.
Yeah.
But you see a councillor goes out, he doesn't even know what happens in the council, his own go beggarly and take his salaries and go, and the man is earning his salary. So it's a total waste of fun. And so the assembly should initiate to let out, because they have a lot of things to legislate on who shouldn't have, and then there should be some concurrent, you know, list between the state and the local government. That's why I still call that. But in spite of that, we will not use that to now remove what the man has done or hasn't done. But of course, if they have summoned him and they have not impeached him, they now said suspended him, you know, for doing that. That means in the period of suspension, he has a right to go to court. It doesn't matter what you think. So the man can approach the court and say, you do not have right or you have right. I didn't come because you are not my legislators that should summon me. Exactly. You don't need to summon me. We are colleagues. We can go. You're not summoning. Why are you summoning me? Yes, the local government could be a creation of the state assembly, just like the state is a creation of the national assembly. So the national assembly cannot absorb the power, except in a situation where the assembly here is not there. So the national assembly cannot begin to legislate until we elect them. So I think people shouldn't just acquire power and begin to take all the powers they would not want to release, because it's not a good thing. And you know, if you notice what has been happening in Nigeria, there's a case I'm going to mention here. Okay, yes, that case is in Okachukwu or something. Okachukwu was the GM of NNPC then, you know, the former GM, and he has very good contact, excellent contact with the president, you know, which was good luck. And so he did a memo. That memo took almost the powers of the Minister for State to the office of the GMD. And then Buhari came and made him the Minister for State. So he was not begging for power. So you see people will do things at a lower office or an office. So they go higher. People will rubbish a senator and then they now go as governor and then become senator and want governor to not see them as such. You did it in the first instance. Did you respect? There used to be a time in 1979. Do you know that in 1979 to 1983, that someone was removed as governor because he couldn't come to wait for a senator? He couldn't, because he was the majority leader of the Senate. Yes. That he couldn't come to the airport to wait for him. So the protocol then was that it was purely Obasanjo that, knowing that the coming together of the first senators wearing from him, and that he did not have grip of those Senate, and so he then went and parried the governors and made them so strong that, so he was that discussing with the governors and all of that, and not told the governor, after all, I will give you power to nominate who is going to come for Senate in the first instance, especially in our party. And so the governors became so powerful. But that is not supposed to be so. We have the executive, the legislative, the state is another state. So the senators, I used to tell somebody, of course you know that the Senate president is the number 3 citizens of this country. Yes. And he's representing senators. Yes. So if I'm a senator and I'm here and the Senate president is not here, I'm representing the Senate president. And so the governor should give him that respect. Yeah. So, but you see, they have bastardized that. And now, you now go back and you see today that at least 30% of the senators were governors. Yes. And so they now need that power. It's left them. So it's always like that. So what goes around comes around. So if you are an assembly member, call on your this thing and say, look, dissolve some powers. We don't have a right to this thing, so that the chairman will begin, you will see the government, the councils will rise if you give them power.
Sir, why does the local government autonomy not
independence? But if you're also not independent economically, you will be dependent on politically, you will compromise. So you see that the soft structure will begin to determine the superstructure.
Exactly.
That's just what happens. And the thing is, we have a value, that's a little bit not okay, this value. So our value is on the man who is giving it. That is why, you see, have you not seen that as the legislators who go on campaign, he who pays the fare takes the tune.
Exactly.
Now that autonomy is willing to do with it, that means that your budget will be approved by you so the autonomy will now begin to trickle down to that. You will now begin to see a situation where the assembly somebody will go for assembly for 2 times and all of that and go back. But the difference is creation of wealth. Deuteronomy, even though some pastors, I don't want to say that, have bastardized that preaching to be. He said, God said, I give you power to make his creation. Yeah. So when God gives you an opportunity to be somewhere, he's saying, in this opportunity I've given you, I've given you wisdom to create wealth for the people. That's what he's saying. That's what God is saying. I've given you power. I've given you that enablement, that blessing to be able to create wealth. And so if we don't have resources that are being created via you, anybody can be local government chairman. But that, as soon as a financial autonomy is trickled down to where you no longer have resources coming from anywhere, so you have to create your resources. I will tell you that in an election you will see 2 persons contesting for local government chairman. Exactly. Because it's hard to do with creativity. But if it's just bringing money, that's why the man can be a local government chairman in a local government and he's residing in Port Harcourt. Yes. And then waiting for the only time you see his office is when it is time for Jack. The man collects the money and then distributes it, and then so everybody can come to his house. But when you need to create wealth, you have to be. The Bible says, as there were gold found in the street
of tarnishing the image of the Nigerian police. The CP gave the warning while briefing police officers at the headquarters of the command in respect of the local government elections scheduled for Wednesday. The police boss said that the briefing isn't the need for officers to display exceptional professionalism, and emotional intelligence throughout the electioneering. So is this an indictment on the CP telling his boys that per se during an election, sir? I mean, these are briefings that are usually done without the press being available, but this has come out in broad daylight.
Yes,
and I mean, has it gone so? Is corruption that endemic in the police force that, I mean, before such an important exercise, they have to spell it out that nobody should take bribe?
All right. Wow, I like the way you guys took it. But firstly, let me talk about the one that came out to the press, which is that.
Okay, sir.
That briefing was supposed to be in-house, supposed to be in dark room. The right to freedom of information, the right to information. And so that's, I tell people that, there were times where we were almost in a dark period where you wouldn't know what the government is doing. You don't even know. In fact, for you to get this news, you would have sent one of you to that place to get a briefing yourself.
Exactly.
And probably be coming overnight to come and give you that briefing. But today, even the camera can do that. Anything can do all of that. And again, and so you see, that's why even if somebody stays in the hollow chamber of the assembly and say, oh boy, I go deal with you, it's out.
Yes.
Because the freedom of information is available.
Very true, sir.
But a bit that as it may, the Nigerian police is not outside the Nigerian system. They affect Nigerians before they became the Nigerian police, and the laws, the people will always say, part of the things you are giving to the training that you're giving to the security men is not to indulge in collecting bribe. Part of the training, because that if you compromise that, you would have compromised the serenity and the security of the system.
Exactly.
And so, if the man comes to re-echo it, he's saying, do not collect bribe. Maybe in another way. The other way is that he knows that, bribe is not a function of the man who collects only. It's also a function of the man who gives.
Okay.
Now, you see, there is this. The man also is a Nigerian. He knows what is happening in the police force. He also knows that certain persons, in a big house such as the police, there are persons. I have seen wonderful and most professional policemen that, in fact, I wondered. In fact, most of my friends, I have told them, "Are you a policeman actually?" Because I've seen, and when you see those ones, you see the difference.
Yes.
You see that they're professionals. You see what they can do. But then again, in Nigeria, when a police also becomes very professional, they will say the guy is wicked.
Exactly.
I was shocked. Happy with the way he was treating the governor. So I went to my uncle, my father's younger brother, who retired as DSP of police. The guy is over 80. So when I came and I was talking about that, he went and brought a catalog of what their responsibilities and duties, and he said Mbu is doing professional job.
Wow.
And I was like, are you serious? He said yes, that's the professional, because people will not know it, because what you see is not police that were trained. What the guy is doing is a professional job, and that's his position. He was vindicated. When I saw that Amechi, being Minister for Transportation, was the one lobbying for Mbu to be IG. And I asked Amechi, and he said Mbu was truly doing professional job. Oh, so when this thing affects us, so professionally, police can deliver on job if they do not compromise. And of course, again, the politician who wants to win at all costs will also want to compromise them. So the guy is giving them forewarning. Look, if you do that, I'm going to do that. I have a check to do this and all of that. Don't come into all of that. It's a briefing, that they brief them not to do that.
Is it to say that vote buying and inducement during elections have come to stay as a part of our politicking, sir?
It is everywhere in the world. You'll be shocked. Yeah, sure, it'll be shocked. But
as plain as it is in Nigeria.
That's the point.
Okay, sir.
Now, that's where I needed to come. You see, the thing is, even the media, let me indict you guys, even the media, you have not done us very well as you know, you have not been too patriotic. I say that because each time the CNN is focused on Africa, all you see is one guy who is hungry, the other one who is dying war here, and the other one who is doing that. And until I grew, I used to think that first America is a perfect place. Everybody's America is jolly and eating and all of that. There are no places where you don't find road. There are no places where you don't find. Then I came out and traveled and I knew it's a lie. The question is that they are not. Let me tell you something. There are some places in America that you go and you say, am I in a ghetto in Nigeria? A lot of things happen. You know, sometimes they cover it within the local media, you know, and then they tame it down. Why they are doing this, you checked why you were growing up. You watched films, you know, Hollywood films. Yeah. Check a lot of those Hollywood films. You will see that 1 million person may be just fighting against one American police, and the American police will defeat all. Oh. They are sending us message that look, America is superpower. Yeah. Until the 11/11 saga, that we know America can even be, you know, seen. So, and then until when the Trump things came, we just said, certain places can also be done like this and all of that. Exactly. Those things are done, you know. And CNN took that news out of America because they are not in support of Trump. Yes. Sky News didn't take that. Yeah. Now you see what I'm talking about. I do. So, but here, it hasn't come to stay. But I can tell you that it's real. Anybody who is saying it's not real, the person himself is not real. Because it's real. We know it. Collection of money along the road is almost becoming like it's legal. Where a police officer will ask a commuter, then the commuter will give you, and then say, Oga, give me my change. And he asks, did you buy anything from him? Oh, no, Oga, I paid. Now look at my number. Yes. And the man does not care who is in the car. Because the man believes that if you're going to be a big man, that means that you have come with a jeep. He does not know that some persons might also be there who has the capacity of sacking the man. But you now get frustrated. So that's why I said, but I can tell you that if the CP or the IG truly want to stop that, it is like this. They will stop it. They will stop it. Whoa. Because these are obvious. It is as obvious as if you sack a policeman today, or 10 policemen in some place because they caught them unaware taking bribe today, and then you say the DPO of that place is sacked because he couldn't monitor his place, and then the CP is questioned because he didn't monitor that place. My brother, the next day, police will do professional job. They are well trained. They are good. How come that our police will go outside in Interpol and do excellently very well? How come? It's the same thing. That means that there is something about our value system that is questionable. And no wonder I keep talking about value system. I said, we are not corrupt. We're only dancing towards our value system. Corruption is the stem. The value system is the root. Yeah. So we need to cause the root. And why is it that? If you have to be here talking, you need some kind of big name. You know, if somebody wants to do something, for instance, there was something, I don't want to mention the two names. There was something I went to a very big man to do. I have the capacity. I have whatever the network around the university to be able to do it. But I have not been former governor, nor have I been former commissioner or former minister. So he wasn't looking at that. Then he went and gave to the former, and they couldn't do it. I took my own personal money and did the same thing. He was shocked that could, because they are always looking at that. That is the difference in university. But that's why I said, Yes Owike is a very dangerous politician. I said so. In politics, give it to Yes Owike. The reason is simple. Yes Owike uses all manner of persons. You will be there as big man. Yes Owike will see you as big man, talking with him. You will stay with him during the election. You are planning election. Wike is using the person who can deliver at the world. And that's it. That's the thing. So if you know those who have the capacity to do it, so I believe that the Nigerian police can be well if they are really, really monitored, if they are ready. So that is why anything that happens, if there's somebody collects bribe, I will accuse the IG. Because the IG knows what to do. Yes. Or also the IG to the president, because it means that the president has allowed the IG to compromise such things. Exactly. You know, because sometimes a very professional security agencies may mayor the chances of certain politicians in office. And so they wouldn't want to allow that. So if the man is saying don't collect, it means that the man knows that they're going to induce them to do that.
Okay.
Do you understand?
Yes.
They're going to do that. The ADC, to the vice president, Atiku Abubakar, that showed into professional. One time, the former vice president, Atiku Abubakar, went as vice president to his ward, and he called the policeman in charge to see him in his house. The man refused to go. And he said, what? The man said, that's why I'm here. I can't see anybody. I'm here to do my job. They did that. He said, no, sir, I will not. The vice president is calling him, and he said, no. Do you know, after that, Atiku called for him from IG, looked out for him, and they brought him. The man thought he was going to be sacked. And Atiku said, you're going to be my ADC.
Oh.
And the guy showed it. When now the president of Obasanjo was not fighting Atiku and wanted the police to compromise it, the guy said no.
Oh.
So I think that we should go back to our value. Because the man who is also a policeman, who is posted to the local government, his brothers and wives and all of that will be asking him, what did you bring? As if that's why he went there. What did you bring going to the election? So election itself is going to, that's why you see people want to do INEC work, RISEC work. It's not because they love the country that much. It's because they know that they're going to collect money and some people are going to ask them. So the value system is what did you bring? Not we're able to do. But when one is done well, like the case of the Abia State election, that the woman,
exactly.
Look at the kind of things. Is there any amount that they would have given to that woman that she didn't get now, including name and recognition?
Exactly.
You see, Ray, one day integrity will speak.
Yes.
And I tell you that.
Yes.
Look at the case of Buhari. The passive integrity that Buhari had before. You know that the Buhari of today is not the Buhari that left the last time.
Right.
The integrity that Buhari had before, that people came to pay for integrity and made him president. He didn't have that much money.
Yes.
But if Buhari returning that, they will not pay for that.
Yes.
Because that has been quite. So integrity has a way. So what he's calling them is to, but I should say to the commissioner, do your due diligence. Send people, fire somebody, refuse to also. Even the CP should also not compromise. Because even the governor can compromise the CP.
Yes.
It's their command. Now see, if the CP is compromised in the first instance, and the CP gives commands to the officers, whatever the officer is doing, as long as it's in accordance with the command of the CP, they are professional.
As long as it's in accordance
with the command of the CP,
CP,
they are professional. Because they take command from him.
Yes.
In the military or the security, the other ranks do not have right to think. So you think for them and tell them what to do. So if they execute what you have asked them, so if he is also compromised, they can be compromised.
Yes.
That's what I want to say.
Very true, sir. Okay, let's take the last story before we go. Kaduna State Independent Electoral Commission says 79 chairmanship candidates have been screened to participate in the forthcoming local government elections in the state. The exercise is slated for October the 19th with 79 candidates across 10 political parties vying for chairmanship positions screened. The CAD SECOM Commissioner for Public Affairs and Information, Professor Joseph Gambo, disclosed this to pressmen on Monday. I'll stop there. But sir, in a short sentence or in a couple of sentences, could you give us your analysis, your position, your thoughts on the past? I know we are discussing Kaduna State here, but it has some similarities with what we just came out from in River State. Your thoughts and analysis on the elections and the aftermath of it afterwards.
Okay, I would call it an election to satisfy the nomenclature of the viewing public so that they will understand what I'm talking about. Okay. If not, okay, I would say there was no election.
Okay.
Now, the reason why I said so is, you may not like it. You may not like it when I say this. I have said I am not for Wiki. I'm not for Sim right now. I'm for the law. Election is a process.
Yeah.
You see, the 5th or the 19th, as in the case of the Kaduna, it's not just the election. The election has process. There are processes at which you will arrive to have an election.
Exactly.
You know, you will need to write to INEC because the state electoral officers is a offshoot of the Independent Electoral Commission. Yeah. In section electoral law in section 5A. That's where that gave birth to the RISEC. And part of it is that you need to write the INEC for your voters register 90 days before the release of your timetable. Not even before the election, before the release of your timetable. So you will have your timetable with them, and they will know that 90 days it will come. Then it's upon that release that you now release your timetable. The wisdom in that is, or the spirit behind that is, because if you have to release your timetable, those who will want to aspire to run we now know whether their numbers are updated, whether they are in the voters register, or whether their names are missing.
Exactly.
They will need to see it to know, an updated register. Secondly, is the fact that between the periods that you have had the past elections and all of that, there are a whole lot of Nigerians and children that would have gone to 18, yes. And some also would have died, yes. That had to be accommodated. That's the reason why. And then, thirdly, apart from even giving birth to them, thirdly is the fact that the police also have to be. You see, the police has a signatory right on the election. Okay. That people think it's not just about security. So when you hear the Plateau State Commissioner saying don't compromise, he also knows that. You see, the thing that the result sheet that you sign, you keep one for INEC, you give one to the various agents, yes. Of the parties, yes. And then you give one to the police. They also sign.
And the police was not called to participate.
The police did not sign. INEC didn't have data. The question will be, do you have right to have a data without INEC?
Yes.
And now, so without a data, on what premise did I vote? Meaning that anybody from anywhere who was in River State that day can vote. You see, you don't put something on nothing. People must understand this. You see, if we remove sentiment, is a very powerful thing. Sentiment can make you remove yourself from the real issue. Some of us are not saying that you can't do anything. On the election day, properly, everybody in Nigeria, apart from this Cardinal who has also shown one example, and I can tell you that, everybody in Nigeria knows that the local government thing is the governor's thing. They can stay anywhere and call the result and all of that. We know. And that's why we're not even taking if you are not the governor's list, you don't even take it seriously. But that is that day. Now, the thing is, people will say, oh, when so person was governor or when so person was governor, did not do it. There was a case when Amechi, after election of, after the 2015 election, Amechi hurriedly, the then governor, hurriedly put up an election of local government. Yes. And in 2 months, the election was concluded. They were sworn in, they entered office and stayed. When this came out, a court of competent jurisdiction told them that they are not for lack of process. There is a precedent to that. So someone like me will not say there was election. In fact, if there's anything I say that you are training people for election. Maybe that's the best at which it can be.
It was a mock election.
That was a mock election. Waiting for the real election that will happen. He said, oh no, had they not been sworn in, no wonder election was conducted on Saturday, result released on Saturday, by 10 o'clock on Sunday they were sworn in. Oh, this is a good speed, man. This is a good speed. You should know. Why did they do that? So that today people will not go to court to stop them from being inaugurated. Okay. That's why they hurriedly. And today, about 5 councils have been besieged by crisis because you said to the police that the police should be withdrawn. You see, there was a time in Edo, Bini, where there was protest against the police. Hey, police is causing this. Police said, okay. Edo, all policemen retire. They retire. Just in 1 month, Edo women came out and said, okay, police come back, police come. They now knew that, well, this devil that we know is better than the devil we didn't know. Because you see, you don't keep things. Would the police have been there? Would there be all this bombing? No, it couldn't have happened. But you said you can rule the state without the police. I'm only asking our brothers and the perpetrators of those things to also know that this is our place. So, yes. Because it's going to cost us more money to bring down, and then it may cost life. Please, let's not go. So, because if you allow this thing go like this, some of us will begin to call on Mr. President to declare a state of emergency.
Exactly.
Because we can't allow the state to go like that. And so that's what I'm just saying. Yes. But you see, going back to Kaduna,
yes.
Kaduna has set a precedent, especially during the former governor. It was only in Kaduna that you saw that there was election and people won from other political parties. In fact, the governor got the aspirants of his own party to write an exam. To write, said, but you're going to sign to write certain administrative exams before they were even made part of the process. So if a process is